The 2026 World Cup will be the biggest ever. It's happening across an entire continent. For the first time, 3 countries, 16 cities, thousands of kilometers. So I decided to do something insane. Show you all the host cities, or at least a little bit of each inside another video. And since every story needs a beginning, there is no better city to start talking about the 2026 World Cup than here. This is Ciudad de Mexico. Let me introduce you to Mexico City.
Oh, this is lovely. Most importantly, look at this view here.
Yes, we chose this place exactly for the views. This city deserves an entire chapter. Not that the others don't, but here, soccer has a deeper meaning. Maybe that's why they have the opening match. This is the capital of one of the most important countries in the sports history.
Mexico, the only country in the world to host the World Cup 3 times.
For Brazilians, Mexico also brings good memories. It is here that we got our 3rd title. Here, 2 legends raised the trophy, and the Mexican wave, or La Ola, became a global phenomenon. All host cities are actively preparing for the big event, but Mexico City feels like it's already living it.
More than 9,000 people gathered in the main plaza.
Más grande del mundo.
They just broke the world record for organizing the biggest soccer class ever. And that happened in the most traditional public square in town. But before the matches, you have to understand the city, because Mexico City isn't just about soccer. This square is actually where the city as we know it today was born.
This is the perfect place to start a visit in Mexico City because here you already see so many important and historical sites, like the National Palace over there, the Metropolitan Cathedral right here. But here they have a very unique legacy, pre-Hispanic ruins. This is where the city started with a culture called the Mexicas. Abroad you tend to learn about them as the Aztecs, but here in Mexico you learn that it's not exactly the same. This was their city. And what happened to the city? It was fully destroyed by the Spanish colonizers. They built their own European-like city over the indigenous city here.
Mexico City is a very walkable city, and there's one beautiful avenue here that has it all. Monuments, skyscrapers, museums, embassies, restaurants, and a lot of attractions. It connects the historic center to the most important green space in the country. It was actually built for emperors, but today belongs to the people, showcasing the beating heart of the city, representing Mexico's past and the present. I'm now bringing you on a walking tour of Mexico City. Easy and safe for you to also do on your own. In a previous video, we walked between 2 main landmarks downtown, the main square, the Zócalo, and the main public park, this one right here called Alameda Central.
Remember the mural? Remember? Right?
Yep.
Right here.
Yeah. So after this, make sure you also watch that video, because now we continue where we left off, walking along the main avenue, which takes you to the most important park in the country and the most charming neighborhoods in the capital. Now the walk will be much longer.
Hours longer. But there's 1,001 things to see. I don't know if it's 1,001, but it seems like it.
I'm very excited about it. Welcome to Paseo de la Reforma. We already see a few landmarks here. There's a fountain and 2 abstract sculptures. This one right here has a very interesting meaning. It's called Puerta 1808. It's a reference to the year where the movement that led to Mexico's independence got started. And it symbolizes the gateway to the historic center. Are you sure it can go up, Gordon?
I am, no matter what.
Wow, it is open. What do you see there?
It's an art piece.
No, it's easier. Just read the name.
Caballito.
Yeah.
What's that?
Little horse.
A little horse. Oh.
Do you see a little horse?
No.
I do. I see a pony there.
Looks more like a bird to me.
From here, it's also a quick walk to see one of Mexico City's most iconic landmarks. This is Monumento a la Revolución, Monument to the Revolution. Now, which revolution?
1776, 1942, 1810.
The Mexican Revolution.
Mexican Revolution, yes.
This revolution transformed Mexico from a dictatorship to a constitutional republic.
Hola, mira, son 2, por favor.
2 accesos funerarios,
Sí.
300 pesos.
Adelante, chicos, por favor. Lo que tenemos aquí enfrente se llama Plaza de la República. Fue restaurada en 2010 junto con monumento por conmemoración del centenario de la Revolución.
Stairs.
Behind the scenes. All these here is for earthquakes.
Y empieza la revolución. Mientras mientras Porfirio Díaz estaba celebrando el centenario, pues mucha gente ya no estaba de acuerdo con que él siguiera en el poder.
Pancho Villa and Emiliano Zapata, two Mexican revolutionaries. Muchísimas gracias. We just finished an hour-long tour. It's very impressive because there's a whole structure that is not open to the general public. And you can see why. It's narrow spaces. You gotta be careful. You gotta know where you're going. The tour is totally free. We signed up as soon as we arrived, and it was so worth it. You learn a lot about the Mexican history and the revolution, but it's only in Spanish, so you gotta understand a little bit. Oh, look at this, how charming. There's a cafe here. Very interesting about this monument here because it was not built to be a monument celebrating the Mexican Revolution. This was actually built to be a major legislative palace. It was built by the dictator at the time, but construction stopped when the revolution started. They had no funds. People started taking pieces away to build the railroads. This is what was left, and they decided turning into this monument. Ah, sí. Vale, muchísimas gracias.
You gotta mix it a little, huh? Mix it.
Let's go. Cheers, cheers. I'm thirsty.
Cheers.
So, salud. Which one is better?
The one I stirred. I stirred them both. They're both good.
They're really good, yeah.
Another viewpoint upstairs. It's a couple hundred steps.
Oh, here we are. Much better view from the summit. There was originally an elevator bringing people here to the summit. It was a curved elevator, state-of-the-art, like just the second in the world, only after Paris. But then what happened? The revolutionaries are actually buried here. And when the last one was buried in the 70s, they placed the body right underneath the elevator. Hence, it cannot be used anymore. Salud!
Salud. Fresca.
That's pink grapefruit,
I
yeah.
didn't see pink. Number one.
It's grapefruit. And I got agua fresca de horchata. It's one of my favorite drinks here in Mexico. Tastes like cinnamon.
I like rice.
Right? Yeah, maybe rice and cinnamon. It's delicious. And our tacos.
Chicken and chorizo.
And I got tacos al pastor with cheese. You see al pastor everywhere here in Mexico. Oh, it's so delicious. Oh, I miss Mexico. Spicy?
Yeah,
If it isn't, you make it spicy, right?
you betcha.
Back to Paseo de la Reforma, where there used to be a monument here honoring Christopher Columbus, but it's been taken down. Mexicans have been reevaluating this whole history of the discovery of the Americas. It's going to be replaced by something else. Now, what's still here is this statue honoring a very important leader of the Aztecs. He was the last Aztec emperor, symbol of the indigenous resistance.
Crooked. It's leaning.
Yes, remember why? Mexico City is sinking.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's built on a waterbed.
Here's a monument to the mother, just off of the avenue, but it's seen better days.
It's a new building. Open door. Let's go check it out.
Look at all this green space here in the middle. It is very beautiful. Have you counted how many Starbucks we've seen?
You know, I haven't really paid attention because I'd rather go to a Mexican coffee shop.
Oh.
Yeah.
But there are many
Mexican coffee shops, yes.
Now, here's a beloved monument. You see this in a lot of city guides. There's a very nice mall here, too. Look at that. What's great about this mall is that it feels very open. You see all this light coming in. It's really nice. One thing that is missing along this avenue is a subway, right? The metro. But there are buses, and there's a bus lane right here, so you shouldn't be stuck in traffic. I wish there was a subway. Now, here's a place everyone wants to see in Mexico City, the Angel of Independence. It's a monument from 1910 to commemorate the 100 years of the independence of Mexico.
Now, if you remember the first monument we visited, what have we learned there? In 1910, Mexico was about to change forever. Just as the angel was being unveiled, the revolution was beginning. So this is a reminder of a country caught between two moments, celebrating the past while fighting for the future. And then came 2010. 200 years after the independence, 100 years after the revolution, and Mexico gained wings.
Wings of freedom.
How come there's no lineup?
Yes, now you can see this sculpture in so many countries all over the world. But if you want to see the original, right here.
The 21st century symbol within everyone's reach.
Look. The cow has wings.
Yeah, the cow here is special.
Two-headed cow.
The universe makes no mistakes. You know what's up there?
A bar.
A rooftop, yeah. This rooftop is very close to our hotel, which is right here, and it also has a rooftop. So we figured that the view might be similar. That's why we're skipping. But if you don't have a hotel with a rooftop, it should be very nice. And that one is open to the public. Is this a tour or a party? Hola, hola! Hey! Woohoo! I make friends everywhere. Along this avenue, you can see important figures in Mexican history. They're all men until you get here. This section is dedicated to all the women that made history in Mexico. A lot of these monuments are also lit at night, and a lot of people I asked said it's pretty safe to walk along this avenue after dark. From here is just a 10-minute walk until the largest, most beautiful, and most iconic urban park in Mexico. But we'll save that for tomorrow.
How can you define Mexico City? It's massive, chaotic, and alive. And somehow it all works. But then, everything changes.
Good morning again from Mexico City. This is the entrance to one of the largest and most important city parks in the world, Chapultepec. There's a lot to see. How big do you think this park is?
Bigger than you think.
Bigger than you think.
No, bigger than you think.
This is twice the size of the Central Park in New York.
You thought this was a park, but guess what? That's all the park?
Yes.
I think we only get time to visit this.
This is the main area where most of the famous attractions are. We're right here.
La defensa de la patria.
Defensores de la Patria,
Sí.
and which means?
Defense of the nation.
And who was defending the nation?
I think there were 6 kids who were defending this castle.
There's a castle here, we're gonna show you later. But yes, all this area here was under a siege, you know, the US Army. The US tried to occupy Mexico City, and these boys are considered heroes. This is a very beautiful place. When you look to the other side, look at that, the Angel of Independence. There's so much history here in this park, you know. There are so many landmarks, mainly referring to the colonial days, but the history goes way further back. This park was already important for the Aztecs or Mexicas, you know. This is where they sourced the water to take to their cities. Remember that that's located all the way in the historic center. This fountain here, for example, is relatively new from 1931, but not the water source. This is the oldest tree here in the park, and legend has it that it was planted by the Aztecs. It lived for 500 years. There were pre-Hispanic baths here. The water source has dried out, you know, over the years. And it was very organized into men and women spaces. It's very interesting. It's like a Roman bath. Baños de Moctezuma is the name of the place. Now you may wonder, who was Moctezuma, right? So I Googled here 2 different and important Aztec emperors. Moctezuma II, the most famous one, he was the ruler during the arrival of the Spanish conquistadores.
Do you know who these are?
No.
Have you ever heard of Roswell?
We were there.
They lived here. You're not so tall like them, but you're wider.
A little bit of Canada here. Do you feel at home now?
No?
Although this is more British Columbia.
British
not so much
Columbia,
Alberta.
native Canadian, yes.
But you should feel at home, at least a little bit.
No, I'm in Mexico. This is wrong, Renata. This says it was donated 150 years ago in 1810.
No, the independence was in 1810.
My Spanish not so good.
So 150 from 1810, that makes it what? 1960.
Yeah, 1960.
That's when Canada donated it, totem.
It's been here that long.
This is lovely.
Fuente de Don Quixote.
Don Quixote himself, Cervantes, Sancho Panza. This word, Chapultepec, you know, the name of the park, doesn't sound very Spanish, right?
No.
Any idea what it means?
It's the name of someone.
No, it's actually an indigenous word that means hill of the grasshopper.
Look how...
It is so peaceful here. You just hear nature, you know? You don't even hear the noise of the city. You even forget you're in one of the largest cities in the Americas. Oh,
Oh, the squirrel just stole something here. What did he get? Remember you laughed at me, Polanco, when I didn't want the squirrel to take my chocolate? They're not aggressive at all, come on.
Be careful with your food. That's a big drink. Hold it higher.
Size of the
Hold it
drink.
higher. It's bigger than your head. It's a juice.
Agua de frutas. It's not exactly a juice. It's more watery than a thick juice, and it's made of strawberry. It's natural. I almost feel like I'm in Germany holding a huge beer mug. Do you regret it now?
No.
I know you do. Salud. Salud. No, Gordon's is like this because he didn't wait for me, huh? Isn't it delicious?
Yeah.
Mexico City has more museums than most cities in the world. There are more museums here than in New York, for example. And some of them are located right here in the park. This is one of the most important museums in the country. It's the Anthropology Museum. But as we already have plans to go to the castle, which is also a museum, we thought it would be too much, for a day, and we don't want to do anything rushed. So we're going to save this for a future opportunity. And now, finally, Chapultepec Castle, the only royal castle in the Americas. Did you know that, Gordon?
No.
There's not one in Brazil, not one in the US, not even in Canada, only here in Mexico. Not many people going uphill, a lot going downhill. So it might be a good idea, to come in the afternoon. That was our bet. Oh, how nice. We walked a lot. We were all the way in that flag, came over here, and now we're up the hill. Views are so beautiful. And I know it gets even better. But let's follow the path here and start with the inside. Chapultepec Castle wasn't built for a king, but it became the residence of one. In the 1860s, an European emperor who ruled Mexico transformed the fortress that existed here into this masterpiece.
Mexico had too much debt. They reneged on paying. So Britain, Spain, and France decided, we're going to do something about it.
Let's intervene.
This is how an Austrian emperor came to rule Mexico.
Wow, how beautiful. This is the view, huh? After all the walk, baby.
Yeah.
We walked all this. How cool.
Does this avenue remind you of another famous avenue in a place we've been?
Yeah, Avenida Teresios.
Not my city
No, okay.
now.
Look closely.
The Champs.
The Champs.
Champs Élysées.
It's exactly that.
Maximilian of Habsburg built this avenue so that his wife, Charlotte, could feel at home. She was French. So interesting that they had a few rooms here, open to the side, right? With a view.
Wow.
One of the few museums where we actually see the bathroom, at least a little bit of it. All these rooms here have a view to the terrace.
A motto for the Mexican economy. Order in progress.
No, that's from Brazil.
Now let me ask you an important question. Pergunta mais importante por brasileiros. Which country had more order in progress?
This castle was home not only to Emperor Maximilian, but also to the future presidents of Mexico until the beginning of the 20th century.
Here's a room for the presidents and their agreements. Imagine the parties they had over here, huh? Look at all this space.
The grasshopper.
The grasshopper.
And the eagle and the snake.
Full of symbolism. This is the most open castle I've ever seen. Not only here in the patio, but all the rooms, they have doors that open up to the balconies and to external areas. It's really beautiful. Most other castles I've seen are in Europe, where the weather's not that great all year round. But here, they could just enjoy.
No.
No?
Because the other castles have 1,000 rooms and this one only has 100.
That's true. This is not as big. The rooms are not that big, but it's very charming, I really like it.
This outdoor-indoor layout also becomes clear with the route of the visit. We're now back inside to discover a whole different aspect of the museum, where they explain how Mexico became what it is today.
The castle is not only a castle, it's the National Museum of History. Here it explains one of the reasons why the conquistadores, the Spaniards, could take down the Mexicas. It was because they used to sacrifice, people from different tribes. So they made a lot of enemies over the centuries. When the Spaniards arrived here, they took advantage of that. The U.S. invasion cost Mexico half of its territory. That's how they lost California, Arizona, and New Mexico. Before that, they had already lost Texas. After you know the meaning, you start seeing this everywhere.
Cheers! Salud! Salud! After walking the whole day, we deserve some Mexican specialties. This is chicharrón de queso. Normally, chicharrón is made of pork skin, but here's just the cheese. There's nothing inside. Look at this. It's just cheese. Yes, there's more coming. Here, it's a bistec taco with cheese. And Gordon's is basically the same thing, but served folded. So tasty. The meat is so tender, it melts in your mouth. Whoa.
When you travel this entire path, you realize you basically go through a timeline of Mexico itself. But when you go sideways, you realize that in today's Mexico City, there are many worlds coexisting. Take the two neighborhoods next to the park, for example. This is La Condesa. This part of the city feels different, slower, more local.
This is such a cool neighborhood. I don't know if they know what they have here.
Lovely. This is the kind of place you go when you don't really have a plan. Somehow, in the middle of a city this big, it feels so calm, like a completely different version of Mexico City.
Condesa was the area where Mexico's Hollywood used to live.
Look at how lovely. Just get a churro, sit here outside. So beautiful, peaceful. On the other side, just a few minutes away, everything changes again. This is Polanco. Modern, refined.
Polanco offers a wide range of upscale boutiques, restaurants, art galleries, and this is where you find them. They say that this is the most expensive square feet in Latin America.
Is it?
Could be.
That and that.
Here, Mexico City feels global. Same city, completely different energy.
Look how manicured this park is. Oh my.
Soon, millions of people will come to Mexico City for the World Cup. But they realize the match is just part of the story. The city is the experience. And this video is just the beginning, the very first stop of something much bigger.